Crunchyroll is making more moves to become the main name in anime streaming. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And there's a Japanese talent agency that is about to start using AI to generate dubs in 29 different languages. Welcome back, nerds, to the More Than a Cartoon podcast. I am your host today, Dr. Applesauce, joined by my co-host, Kyle. Merry Christmas. You might be seeing this a couple days before Christmas or a couple days after Christmas, but this is our Christmas week episode, and we're on episode like 20-something.
I think it's 28. Tis the season for episode 28.
So it's like, that's like literally, that's a little more than halfway of a year. So we've been doing this
We have been doing this for half a year.
Yeah. Because we started in June, and now we're right around Christmas. So happy half-year birthday, I guess, to us, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all you guys. And for our Christmas episode, we're just going to talk about topics that were literally just dropped into our laps like a gift.
Let's figure out how many innuendos we can do. Like, let's unwrap this, let's unwrap this.
Unwrap these controversial topics. And here's the interesting thing about the topics that we're going to talk about today is they can be perceived as good things or bad things, I guess, depending on your perspective. And
I'm on the bad side. Will's on the good side. Just keep that in mind.
I get both sides, and I really want to break this down for everybody. And I'm excited to talk about it with Kyle, because I know Kyle doesn't necessarily agree with everything. That I think about these topics. There's things that we agree on and things that we don't agree on. But I think it's interesting because you can be on both sides of this spectrum for these topics and still be a true anime fan, right? And so that's really what I'm excited about. And so the main topics that we're going to talk about is we're going to dive into some of the stuff that's happening with Crunchyroll again, and then we're going to dive into this talent agency, this voice acting agency in Japan that has signed a deal to use AI to generate dubs in 29 different languages, which is an interesting thing. There's a lot going on with that. But first, we're going to jump into the Crunchyroll stuff, okay? So there's a couple big things that are going on with Crunchyroll. We did talk a lot about Crunchyroll in a previous episode. A lot of the
I would say watch that one or listen to that episode before, because what we're about to say kind of ties into that. And me and Will, we have different perspectives on this of what he can see as being good. For me, I see it as bad. So it'll probably be both. Just to keep in mind, it'll probably be both. But at the same time, make your own decision. We're going to present what we see and what we think.
Right.
Make your own decision, though.
Agreed. And I think a lot of what the new information we're going to talk about with Crunchyroll is even more relevant and important because of what we talked about last week. So just quick catch you up to speed, like Cliff Notes. If you want to see the whole thing, go watch that episode. But basically, Crunchyroll is doing away with their free option for their streaming service. A lot of people didn't realize that they had this, but essentially they had a free option that you could watch some stuff on Crunchyroll for free with ads. You couldn't get simulcasts. If you don't know what a simulcast is, that means it's all the anime that's like currently coming out. You couldn't get access to that, but you could get access to, part of their library and see if you liked Crunchyroll and wanted to join up. And they're doing away with that. Long story short, I'm pretty certain that prices are going to go up. Crunchyroll's owned by Sony, which is going to play more of a role at another later on in this episode. But I would, if I'm a betting man, I would bet good money that Crunchyroll prices are going to go up. We're going to at least see a tier that is a certain price with ads, and then we're going to see a tier that's a certain price without ads. I have no evidence, nothing that says that's going to happen. That is just my educated guess based on what I've watched other streaming platforms do. Take that as you will, okay? That's important because of some of the stuff that's coming out today about Crunchyroll. And I want to preface this to say the only article that I have found talking about this is comic book resources. I think it was CBR, which is some people take it as gospel. Some people say that it's not a reliable source. I am of the mind that it is a major news outlet. And because there is information coming from this major news outlet, I want to look at it and I want to pay attention to it with the caveat and the grain of salt that nobody else is saying this, so that at least there's going to be some truth to this. if it's not the full truth. There's at least some truth to it, and it's worth looking at and speculating on. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think there's crop circles. I think there's signs for you to be paying attention to.
Yes.
Like kind of a quick synopsis of what happened in last week's episode. For this, we were talking about how Crunchyroll is monopolizing the anime industry. And what Will is trying to do and show is that how it really does look like it's heading that way. Every single day that passes, it seems like Crunchyroll is becoming more and more of a monopoly. It's just like there's going to be only one site.
Yeah.
Now, mainly we talked about Crunchyroll taking over High Dive or joining with High Dive, which it's going to be a takeover eventually. The problem I'm worrying about is that what we're about to get into, this is just, it's originally it was just a small snowball. But what happens when a snowball starts getting around other snow? Turns into a bigger snowball. This right here is like an avalanche in my eyes. Yeah. For Will, it might be a good thing, like I said, but I see this as like the signs are there.
Yeah. You'll see, like Kyle and I agree on the facts of what's happening. Like we agree on the moves that are being made, but what you're going to see is we don't necessarily agree on whether or not that's good or bad. So I've blue balled you guys and teased y'all enough. Essentially, it's this new information that's come out. Is this article from CBR? And again, I said you take it with a grain of salt, however you want. But like Kyle said, I think it's perfect. It's crop circles, right? These are signs that something is happening, and they're going to be indicative of some type of change that is happening. So an educated person, an intelligent person, they take data points from multiple sources, and they look at all these data points, and they say, all of these data points are pointing in this direction. This probably means these are the things that are going to happen. A dumbass looks at one data point and says, well, none of this other stuff matters. None of that's happening. I'm just going to look at this one thing. We're trying to keep you from being dumbasses is essentially what's going on. And do the work for you, because I understand most of you guys watching aren't full-time creators, and you don't have the time to nerd out and geek out over all this dumb crap. You just want to watch your anime and listen to an hour-long podcast and get information. We're going to give you that information so you can make your own decisions and do your own research. This article came out from CBR. It says Disney, Netflix, and more streaming services are quietly exiting the anime streaming race. Key phrase, this winter. So we don't know if that's going to continue after this winter because the winter anime is about to come out, or if it's just for this season. It would be odd for it to be just this season, but who knows? Okay. Disney, Hulu, Netflix, and other major streaming platforms seem to be giving up on embracing anime heading into the new year. 2026 is just days away, and already the clear winner in the realm of anime is Crunchyroll. Duh. This isn't just because Crunchyroll is a dedicated anime streaming platform, but because all of the major competition is heading into the new year with little to no notable releases of their own. So there's a few interesting things you have to take from here. That verbiage, and I want you to tell me what you think, Kyle. The verbiage of that
very smartly worded.
It's very, very carefully worded, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what this is pointing at is Netflix, Disney, High Dive, Hulu, which is now merging with Disney. They're not releasing many, if any, anime titles for the winter anime, which is very odd considering there's been, which is one, actually it's true, but it's also odd considering this race that those specific platforms have been in, grabbing up all the exclusives that they can, releasing their own anime exclusives, whatever. And so it leads you to wonder, obviously Crunchyroll is still going to be releasing a ton of stuff, but then we have these other major platforms that have been in this race with Crunchyroll that now all of a sudden they're not releasing a bunch of stuff at the new year, which is odd as they've been in this race. And that's what this website is talking about. And they're pointing at that, which is true. So what we need to determine and discuss, is that just going to be for this season, or is this going to be indicative of something that's going to continue to happen? And then we take that and we look at all these other things are happening, and you kind of got to piece the pieces of the puzzle together.
I have two thoughts with that. With just the first part that you read. When I was reading it, also, I was thinking, okay, you have one where Crunchyroll is just somehow found a way to take up all the anime, right? They just want to take it all. The other hand, I'm thinking is maybe the other sites are realizing, and when I'm saying the other sites, I mean Disney, Hulu, Netflix, so on, so on.
Amazon, all those sites.
maybe they're realizing, hey, this isn't a battle we really need. We already have what we want on our site, and maybe anime is just not as profitable for them since, you know, there is a sole site for anime. Maybe. Or this is the second thought. Or maybe they just don't have originals. Because the way there's a lot of speculation now. It's not flat out saying these sites have bowed out.
Right.
It's not saying that they're not releasing anime. All it says, though, it seems to be that Crunchyroll is releasing a lot, which it seems to be every single season, every single year. It seems that Crunchyroll is releasing more and more, and it seems like these sites are releasing less. Now,
the article clearly says little to no notable releases of their own.
Exactly.
Which you could probably interpret to mean exclusives.
Exclusives. Now, there are two forms of exclusives that you have. One where it is solely and will only be on that site, or you have exclusive rights for that to be on your site until you have a licensing of a certain amount of time until that licensing runs, and then it gets sold to another family. But there are certain ones, I said, like Devilman Crybaby. That is exclusive to Netflix. You can only find it on Netflix.
Devil May Cry? Yeah.
Devil May Cry? Is it Devil May Cry or Devil May Cry Baby?
There's Devilman Crybaby, but there's the Devil May Cry animated.
Not the video game one, the actual animated one.
The actual animated one with Johnny Young.
The one that's like messed up, dude. That one. There's so much to talk about that one. But with that, you have also exclusives. You have Crunchyroll originals or Crunchyroll exclusive. What's the term they had for it? Is it
Crunchyroll uses Crunchyroll originals? Yeah,
originals. So they'll have that, but that doesn't mean it's like it is a Crunchyroll. Hey, I paid for this. All that. No, it just means like it's only going to be seen on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Like they help produce it. It's like a Netflix original. Netflix helped actually like produce and create it. The Crunchyroll original, like Tower of God, you'll never see it anywhere besides Crunchyroll because it's a Crunchyroll original type of a thing.
So with that, I'm thinking maybe they're just realizing that instead of releasing animes, we're just not going to release originals, but there'll still be animes that will pop up on there, new animes, but they might not be coming out this winter season. They might be from the previous season. Maybe, you know, they got licensing to add other animes. So I do believe there might be animes releasing to Disney, Hulu, and Netflix. They won't be brand new or exclusive. Yeah, that's my mindset when I got from reading this article and also seeing the way it is. But what can happen after this?
Yeah,
the way it can happen after this is just a big red flags.
There's a little more information that comes out of the article that gives a little more insight, and you'll see why it's comparing this. So basically, the article says that we're starting the winter 2026 streaming season with Crunchyroll entering over 50 new and returning titles. Over 50, which is wild, to include Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Frieren Beyond Journey's End Season 2, Oshinoko Season 3, and then a bunch of others that are super, super popular. Contrast that 50 to other platforms like Disney Plus that has 0 new anime releases, which isn't surprising. But then Hulu coming out with only 3 new anime releases compared to 50. And then I want to say Netflix is 3 as well. So what we're really doing is we're comparing how Crunchyroll is having over 10 times the amount of releases as each of these other platforms. And now we do see that there are other things that are planned to come out on these other platforms. So for instance, Netflix, we're going to get some really cool stuff on Netflix later on in the year. But at the beginning of the year, not much is coming out. But later on in Netflix, there's going to be the Devil May Cry 2, which is up for debate whether it's anime or not. Blue Box Season 2, which was really popular this summer. Hikaru Died Season 2. Sakamoto Day Season 2. The new season of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which I'm super pumped for that. Dorodoro Season 2. So there's going to be a lot coming to Netflix later. But it still is interesting.
But when you listed right there, those were Netflix exclusives, though.
Correct. So Netflix already has the rights to those shows.
This is
but
very
they're not
interesting.
getting new stuff.
This
right?
is
so that's the thing. That's the thing that's really interesting. So
what is going on?
Let's talk about all that. But as we talk about that, listeners, also understand 3 huge key points in combination with that, right? Number 1, Crunchyroll is owned by Sony. Huge corporation. Number 2, it is confirmed that Crunchyroll is getting rid of their free option, and knowing that, it is a very easy, educated guess that they are going to be raising prices and probably having price tiers. Okay, so number 1, number 2, number 3, Crunchyroll has entered into a large agreement with High Dive and 15 other specialty streaming sites to kind of quote unquote unionize themselves with these other streaming platforms to have more power, because they will all unite in the decisions that they make. And then instead of having, 15 million users under Crunchyroll's behest, they'll be able to say, hey, we're part of a streaming group and we have a cumulative total of 100 million users, and this is our request. So you take those three things together, combined with Crunchyroll's having 50 new releases in the winter when all these other platforms are having 2 or 3, and then you really start to wonder what moves are being made by Crunchyroll, by Sony. Are they making moves to be the sole monopoly and be the sole place to stream anime? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? And I think that's where a lot of people are going to disagree. So your thoughts, Kyle, and we can jump into all that other stuff.
I think what's going on right now is it's Sony calling the shots on this one. So when we keep on saying Crunchyroll, I believe this is Sony's doing.
Of course.
And then one thing we can also talk about too, because Will mentioned earlier today, he was talking about, not in the podcast, but between each other, about Sony's censorship stuff that they're implementing too.
Yeah, and that's another article point that I have that I want to bring up. We'll bring that up in a second and kind of go with that too, because that's really
a lot of this stuff is just Sony. They're calling the shots. So when I see this, I'm not trying to bash on Crunchyroll, so that I could do that any time of the day. I think the way it's setting up right now, and if you look at every little thing, they're setting up something that could be almost seen as an empire, a takeover, something very harsh in my eyes. Other people, they could see one-stop shop. That sounds great.
But to preface, as we continue to talk, that's kind of more the way that I view this and the way that I lean is more of a, because, and this is no fault of yours, Kyle, like we have a different perspective, because you having been a big anime fan for like 5 or 6 years, and me having been a big anime fan for 24 years, you, and this, like I said, this is no slight to you. It's just your experience. You don't know what it's like to have to search through used VHS bins to find new anime titles, to be subscribed to New Type magazine to see what's out there, because the internet's not a thing, to buy DVDs for $20 for the next 4 episodes of the anime that you like, right? To have to pirate things and actually download them from LimeWire because there's nowhere else to watch anything. Like that's what it was. And that your lived experience, I'm not saying you're invalidated, but having that experience and all that struggle that we went through, and then now there's a place where I can just pay them X amount of dollars a month and get everything that I want to watch.
Sounds nice.
And I have grown-up money now. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people have that perspective. And a lot of people have your perspective. And I don't think either perspective invalidates either party of being a true anime fan, you know?
Okay, let me put this scenario out to you then, because the way I see this is supply and demand, right? They have all the supply, we want it. Right? They have, if it's a one-stop shop for anime and you want to find your anime, because you know what's going to happen, I guarantee you next to, if they have a one-stop shop, they can start going after pirate sites. I mean, they're already probably doing as it is right now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Who's to stop them from rising prices again and again and again? It's just $9. Okay. Then it turns to 15, then 20. Because if they realize, because I mean, if you look at this, it's just simple sense when it comes to your own business. Let's put it in perspective like this: you're a landscaper, okay? One thing you want to do is you want to put a sign on the corner, right? You want to cut the corner houses. If you're going to start somewhere, I would go into a house area, neighborhood, get a corner house, stop up right there, and say, hey, you know what? Make it look nice. Cut all their yards, because everyone's going to see the corner house.
Driving by is going to see those.
They're going to see your work. Then you start taking over. You want to get to a point where that you're so busy that you can't cut other yards. So what we have to do is go back to your customers and be like, hey, I'm going to rise up a little bit. I'm going to take my prices. You're going to lose something, but you need to make sure you rise your prices up enough that if you lose a customer, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because then you know someone else is going to come and take that. Someone else is going to take that. So who's going to stop them? What price is it for you, for Crunchyroll to be monthly? Where you be like, you know what? This is too much for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a great point, and it's an interesting thing, because the opinions that I have on it, for on one side, and listen to my whole perspective before you get mad at me, anybody watching. On one side, I believe that Crunchyroll is incredibly underpriced for what they currently offer. I'm not saying they have everything. I'm not saying they have all the old school anime we could ever. That's not what I'm saying. Because the common rebut to that is like, well, they don't have this old school obscure anime that I love. I can't get it on Crunchyroll. Okay, I understand that. I'm just saying, I think Crunchyroll is incredibly underpriced for what they offer. I would pay a heck of a lot more for Crunchyroll than they currently ask. I admit that I would. Okay, that's one perspective. The other perspective is, I understand that there's a lot of people out there that they can probably afford $9 a month. They might not be able to afford $30. I get that 100%. So there's this weird juxtaposition of like thought processes in my head. Additionally, I don't like the idea of there being no competition to keep Crunchyroll or Sony incentivized to keep their prices competitive, which is what we're seeing with Netflix, because Netflix is the streaming powerhouse right now, as far as like your generic television show, movie platform. Netflix is the powerhouse. Yeah. And we talked about this last week. Netflix started out at like $9, $8 a month. And now 20 some odd years later, in order to get Netflix with no ads, access to the live streaming and 4K, it's like $24 a month. And so that's exactly what has happened with Netflix. Netflix has no, there is competition, but Netflix has no other competition that is offering what Netflix is offering in the quantities that Netflix is offering it. Therefore, they have the highest price per month tier out of any other streaming platform out there. So I look at that and I'm like, I don't want to see that happen with Crunchyroll. Would I continue to pay that? I would. Now, there's two caveats to that. There's something that I would love to see happen if those prices go up, but then there's things that freak me out. If the prices go up like that, I would love access to more stuff. My best friend told me the other day, did you know this? If you pay for Crunchyroll, you have access to read all of the manga that Crunchyroll has the rights to online for free. That's a huge value add.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that. So what if they expand their manga catalog and you can read a lot more manga for free with your Crunchyroll subscription? That's a huge value add. What if they start adding more titles, like more old school titles? That's a huge value add, right? Where I get freaked out and I will not support is this next point. And again, understand, this is speculative. There's nothing.
No,
I wouldn't say nothing.
It's alleged, but we're going to say alleged to be safe. But
this is alleged.
It's bull.
We don't have concrete evidence that this is happening.
I hate it.
It is happening on other shows that the rights are exclusively held by other platforms. But you listen to this, okay? So we understand that Crunchyroll owns, or Sony owns Crunchyroll, right? Okay. Sony is developing AI that censors video games in real time. What does that mean? There's a patent pending AI system that's capable of real-time censorship of video game content that will automatically detect and modify mature or sensitive material such as violence, gore, sexual content, and profanity. This technology uses AI to analyze on-screen visuals and audio in real time, dynamically intervening by muting dialogue, blurring or masking elements, or replacing assets like blood effects or character models to reduce intensity. Okay. Sony is developing this to obviously use on video games.
Just video games?
Why would they not use it with Crunchyroll? They own Crunchyroll, right? And for all the people out there, and again, this is speculation. There is no proof that they're going to do this. But for all the people out there saying, well, this would never happen. One Punch Man Season 3 has been censored since the beginning. There's multiple aspects of One Punch Man that Season 3 that has been censored for us to watch. Now, granted, Hulu holds those exclusive rights, but it is happening, right? So this is where it starts to get egregious to me. I can deal with the prices going up. I can deal with all that. But if there's no competition, that means they can censor whatever they want, theoretically.
Stop them.
And nobody can stop them. And if they are, now, them developing the AI technology in order to do that for video games, that is fact. It's speculative if they're going to implement that on video games and if they're going to implement that on Crunchyroll. If they're spending the money to develop this, why would they not use it on something, right? That's where I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with content being censored from the original work. Hate that. So that's the next part of all of this.
If you were to ask me a couple years ago saying that, oh, they're going to have computers be the voice of voice actors, I thought that would have been funny. I thought it would have been hilarious. I thought you were joking.
Yeah.
Looks like it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Censorship is something, and I want to be very, very clear when I say this. I'm okay with censorship. I'm completely okay with censorship.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be two versions.
Correct.
I want a censored and uncensored.
I completely agree with that. I wouldn't even call that traditional censorship, though. I would call that just giving options, right? Censorship is when you don't have any other option.
Yeah.
Now, if they want to like give us, hey, here's the unrated version, or here's the censored version, here's the family-friendly version, and here's the
one we can
version.
air online. Whether it's the one we can air on TV, do that, or age appropriate. I'm fine with that. I'm not against that.
I would be in full support of that, even if they're using an AI generated software in order to do that. But then we have our two options like, hey, are you watching this? Just like, are you going to watch this in Japanese or are you going to watch this in English? Do you want to watch the censored version or the uncensored version? 100% would be in support of that if that's what this ends up being.
I'm 100% believe you should watch anime the way you want to watch anime.
But you should have the option.
Watch sub. You want to watch dub?
Option.
Watch that. You should be able to watch anime whatever you want because this is your decision. Now, when it becomes someone else's decision of how I watch something, that right there makes me that doesn't make me too keen on that. Now, like I said, I'm not against censorship. I'm not against having age restrictions on certain stuff. I just believe though that there should be a way or an access to get the version that you choose to watch. Yeah. I'm not saying, oh, he just wants to watch Gooner anime. Yeah, I do. But here's the thing also. I want to be able to watch what I want to watch. If you have an anime that is brutal and tough to watch, certain animes, like for me, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But if I want to watch a censored version of it, hey, this one's a little bit more dialed down, I'd probably give it a shot then.
Experience the show.
Yeah.
And
I'm fine with that.
That's where that last point is an interesting one because the act of developing that in and of itself isn't a bad thing. This is one of those areas where I'm like, and I think this will be a perfect segue into the next point too. This is one of those areas where I'm like, okay, that's an appropriate use of AI. Developing a technology that's going to detect that on screen and censor those elements. That's a good way to use AI. That's what we want AI doing for us, right? Now, how you implement that censorship is where the big question is. You have to give people the option of watching the censored or the uncensored version. To be fair, if Crunchyroll decides to increase prices, this could be a way of adding more options and more value to the database of their collective works, giving everything a censored and an uncensored version that you have the option of choosing which one you want to watch. I believe that that's a value add. Giving people those options, that's more value for their money. I would be in all support of that.
Can I ask you a question, though, on the opposite side of that?
Yeah.
What if, and you brought this point up too, if Crunchyroll is the monopoly, if Crunchyroll is the only predator in the area, no other prey, all that, nothing to say and stop them from doing what they're doing. I'm hoping it doesn't end like this.
Yeah.
What is going to stop them from, you know what? I don't like that anime. Let's just take it off. What's to stop them from just saying, like, because you said that site might not have it, but it's the only one-stop shop. If you can't find that anime anywhere else, but you really like it, but Crunchyroll's like, no, we don't need this. This isn't for people. A form of censorship, they get rid of it.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
That's a good question. I want to believe that Crunchyroll would be wise enough to have the options available for people that are actually watching them.
Like, have they been making wise decisions though?
Right. So say Crunchyroll does that, or say, let's go even a step further and Crunchyroll starts like saying, hey, here's the versions that y'all are allowed to watch of everything. And then where, again, this is huge hypothetical situation. This is probably the only situation that would lead me to this eventuality. Say Crunchyroll starts doing that. Crunchyroll is the only legal streaming site that you can watch anime, hypothetically. And they start using this AI system, hypothetically, to create the versions that they say we're allowed to watch of every show. I would cancel my Crunchyroll membership and I'd freaking start pirating anime again. 100%. That's what would cause me to do that. Because you will not tell me what I'm allowed to watch and not watch. That's how I look at it. As long as I'm given the option to watch what version I want to watch, and I'm given the option to watch the unadulterated real version that's adapted from, the real version that's adapted from the manga that everybody else gets to watch, I'll be happy. You start changing things and censoring it, then that's where I'm out. That for me, that's the line. Okay. Not a price hike, not a, I'm not having an English dub. I only have a Japanese dub. The line for me is if you start changing the original works. The good thing is I don't think Crunchyroll's that stupid. No. And also, Crunchyroll and Sony are doing this for the almighty dollar. I think there would be a massive amount of pushback and mass cancellations of subscriptions if those eventualities happened. I think anime fans would just mass protest the platform and they'd see a huge issue and that they would course correct. So those are my assumptions. But worst case scenario, that's how I would handle it.
So you answered my next question. I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you could see yourself not having a Crunchyroll membership. So that answered that.
That is the only situation in which I would protest with my money.
I think that a good thing to think about that though is you have Crunchyroll. They are going with the path they're going right now. The way I see it, I don't think they're going to make a stupid decision like that. I believe it's a stupid decision. I think censorship and all that, we'll see. That's where me and Will differ. Well, I do see them just like saying, you know what, that anime, let's just get rid of it. We don't need it. I don't see that happening. Well, I see they have a problem. The problem I do see happening.
Let me I could see them doing that on a show that like doesn't meet some view metric that they, some arbitrary view metric that they say, this show's not getting watched X amount of times. It's not worth us keeping it because it's not getting watched X amount of times. I can definitely see that happening.
Where I see it happening is exactly what was said. I can see it happening is if it is not profitable for them, them getting rid of it. Because say you really love this anime and no one knows it's very niche. First off, that's a problem for you gatekeeping. Stop gatekeeping and then to tell people about it. That's how you keep your anime on there. Just gonna put that out there. That's why I can't stand by gatekeepers. Here's another problem though. They realize it's not profitable. It costs more money for us to put on the site and then send it to streaming sites or send it to the whatever internet provider it is doing. That's going to cost them money versus what they're returning on. So there's not a good ROI if you want a return on investment. I can see that happening. That right there, I don't think that'd be as a big backlash, but it's just more of them losing licensing, them not wanting to keep certain animes up. But I feel like censorship stuff, I could see it happening. Honestly, I really do. I just don't. I don't want it to.
I think that example, just to be encouraging for everybody listening, is typically going to be more of the exception and not the rule. And like, if your favorite anime that is just something that a lot of people don't know and it ends up being that exception that like, hey, that's one that just gets removed because nobody's watching it. Listen, buy the freaking physical copy of it, right? Like, and I only say that because that situation will be the exception and not the rule, right? Buy the physical copies. I use this example all the time. Freaking Blue Gender.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorites. You can't stream it anywhere.
Can't find it.
Guess who has the original copies from when they were coming out? Me. Why? Because it's one of my favorites. Ninja Scroll. I don't think you can stream Ninja Scroll anywhere.
I don't think so.
I might be wrong. Guess who has the Ninja Scroll Deluxe Edition that I bought at Half Price Bookstore for $30 because you can't stream it anywhere? And all those examples only to say, if there's something that you love that isn't available on a streaming platform, buy the physical copy if you love it enough. If you refuse, then you don't love it enough.
So you can find the movie. Is it a movie or a TV show?
Which one?
Ninja Scroll.
It's a movie.
Okay, so you can find the movie on High Dive apparently, and also on Apple TV, but to rent. So on any sites where you can buy to rent it and stuff like that, that's more of it.
You can't let go and stream it for free.
So here's the thing. I agree with Will. I'm buying physical copies, but I agree on buying physical copies or doing some form. If it's an anime that you love, first off, tell other people about it. Word of mouth is free. That's free. If you can't buy anything, tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. If you love an anime or love a manga so much, buy the physical copies. Because guess where that money goes to? The person who actually made it. For me, I try not to give my money to Crunchyroll, so I buy physical copies, and that's my form or homage to the creator themselves. That's the way I do it. So I think that is something that's very, very good to take away on that. I really do like that, and just don't gatekeep. I mean, you want your anime to stay around, talk about it.
I think that program that Sony's developing is an appropriate use of AI. That's a good, I'm not saying the implementation of it is what is how it's going to be good or bad, right? The implementation of the end result.
They'll put it in like an age verification probably before the game, and then it says, "Hey, you're this old. Okay, that's when the AI kicks on." I think
something like that, or an alternate version to I
can see it
make the main game, or so you think it would be like, "Hey, here's the game." And then we run the game through this program, and then now we have this additional version that's censored, or it's like something that's running in real time and censoring things in real time as you're consuming the content.
I believe it's going to be a setting that you can turn on physically and turn off physically. And here's the thing. Reason why I think they're making this and developing this is to save them from other lawsuits. When a mother says, my son was playing this game and got, nightmares or saw things he shouldn't have seen. Well, did he have the thing turned on?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that. Well, that's a way they could save them. Yeah.
I think the development of that type of an AI is what we want AI to do for us. That's something that we want AI to do, to give us the option to utilize it or not in a way that may benefit us depending on our situation, right?
That's a crazy statement to say, but I agree.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
It's weird to say that because I know how that AI is implemented could be something that I very much agree with or very much wholeheartly disagree with. So to say that is a weird thing to say, but it all depends on the implementation of it, right? It's like a knife or a gun or a car. The thing itself isn't necessarily evil. The way that it's used,
we're getting into territory.
But like this program that Sony's developing, the program isn't inherently evil. It's a good way to use AI to help.
What is it? The John Wick and all that. It's in whoever's hands it is. The Baba Yaga having a pencil.
Right.
And so it's meant to be written, or it can be used as something else.
That's a good way to look at AI overall. Overall, AI can be implemented to help us in certain ways, but it can also be used in ways that we don't want it to be used, and we don't want it to replace other certain things, like what this talent agency in Japan is doing.
Segue.
And I am dumbfounded that nobody is talking about this. Like the major players in the anime space. Anime News Network is the one that wrote an article on this. So Anime News Network is a decently large anime news platform. I enjoy them.
Weren't they bought out by Crunchyroll or someone else?
Anime News Network?
I believe so, wasn't it? They were bought out by somebody a while back. I thought they were.
I don't know. But either way, they're the ones that wrote the article. And when I say nobody's talking about this, I say major players in the anime community as content creators. Because nobody can disseminate news faster than large scale content creators, right?
Kodokawa.
Okay, Kodokawa bottom. Okay. But this is not, what I'm getting at is this is not getting the attention that I think it should. And that really, really alarms me. So for those of y'all that have no idea what I'm talking about, let me read you something. This is really interesting, okay? So there's this voice actor talent agency in Japan called 81 Produce. I think they represent over 400 voice actors. And so this isn't any of the Japanese voice actors that are the huge players in anime, like Masako Nozawa or any of those people, but they are voice actors for lots of major games, lots of anime. Their voice actors do a lot. So it's not like it's just some minor agency.
No.
Essentially, this company, 81 Produce, has partnered with 11 Labs, which is an AI company that does AI dubs. And they have...
It's actually... Do you know who they are?
11 Labs?
Yes.
I don't like. What do you mean?
So, just for those who don't know, the TikTok voice that you hear on social media, the guy explaining stuff, the AI voice you couldn't get around, that's from 11 Labs.
Okay.
So, if you want to put a comparison, if you're trying to like make them understand the quality of it too,
and so it's decent quality, right? Like, it's not like
it's not bad.
So that's what this company does, is they make AI generated voices and voiceovers and dubs. Long story short, I'll just read it to you. Talent management agency 81 Produce and AI software company 11 Labs announced a business partnership on Monday. So this was previous Monday. By the time y'all are hearing this, that would have been a week ago. The company said the partnership is for the protection of videos of voices and voice actors under 81 Produce from unauthorized third-party generative AI use, while allowing 11 Labs to produce authorized AI synthesized multilingual copies of the voice actors' voices as needed. So for all of y'all out there that are kind of stupid like me, basically what's happening here is 81 Produce has come to an agreement with this company 11 Labs, and they're going to allow 11 Labs to take samples of their Japanese voice actors' voices in Japanese, and 11 Labs is going to start generating dubs with AI of these Japanese voice actors' voices in 29 different languages. Meaning you're going to have the Japanese voice actors in the native Japanese that they actually did, and then 29 other languages that's done by AI, but it's still that Japanese voice actor's voice.
How do you feel about that?
This is the interesting part. Their claim is they're doing this to protect their voice actors from somebody else stealing their voice and making AI dubs of it. And under this agreement, they'll still get residual pay when those AI dubs of their voice are used. So that makes sense there, right?
Okay. But
if that type of strategy is continually adapted, what does that mean for all of the other voice actors in other languages, right?
I mean, it's going to happen. This is going to happen. It's already been happening for social media. I mean, I guarantee, for me, I'll just tell you right off the bat, I'm not against this. I'm not fully for it, but I'm not against this. Just to set the record straight on that. Because on social media, it's been a big beneficiary. Now, I'm iffing on this because it's taking away money from other people who could be dubbing this. I understand that. But also, this opens up doors for you also to where if you're a good enough voice actor, you can also be put into other regions then, so that it can branch you out. So there's a give and take on this situation. But with 11 Labs taking over this, that makes me feel a little bit better because they're actually a decent company that I've seen because they have settings for their voice that you can do. You can have one where it's like stability, similarity, style, exaggeration. You can actually adjust these things, and you can change the fluctuation if you want it to rise up and down. There's a lot more with this versus, if you want to put an example, also Amazon AI dub. Atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's what they're going to be doing, but I think better. I think they're going to put a little more effort into this, and I do feel like it's also giving the other company being like, "Hey, go fight our battle. They stole our voice. Go fight it for us." They're going to be probably using 11 Labs to go sue everybody else potentially if they stole other voices. I can see that, man, because 11 Labs is a big enough company to take on all the other smaller AI companies.
What I find interesting is that these voice actors that are represented by 81 Produce, that they're okay with this because like this could be done to you. Like this could cause you to not get work on something else as a voice actor, right? Like
I believe laws are going to be set aside though.
Maybe it's basically like, I just look at this whole thing as a slippery slope. Like, okay, I get it's to protect them and to keep third-party people from like ripping off their voices and stuff like that. I understand that. But it also can have a deleterious effect on the voice acting industry in other languages. So that like that's very real as well. And maybe nobody else does this but this one company, but I know a lot of English voice actors that wouldn't want this to happen. And maybe the laws in Japan are different. Like a lot of English voice actors are more or less contractors, right? So like they kind of still get to dictate what they do. I know in Japan, a lot of people like, hey, you work for this company. Like you're an employee and you do what they tell you to do, type of a thing. So I don't know if that's the situation with this talent agency or not, but it's interesting to me that those voice actors aren't like pushing back that we can see.
I don't know. It just, I'm not for this again, listen, but it just, for me, I'm thinking of the opportunities that this has, because there's certain times when I'm watching a dubbed anime, I'm like, it doesn't hit. The voice doesn't match the person. Prime example, I'll say this is Watery from The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. I'm not saying it's a bad voice actor. I just don't believe the voice didn't match the character.
Yeah.
Now, the voice of Watery from the sub version.
Yeah.
If I could have done that, and because I actually do like the dub version voice of Rintaro. I love that. So if I could have just swap those two and had, like, say, if I was able to take her voice and make it into like the actual Japanese voice actor, take it into an English dub, I would be inclined to say I would want to try that.
Yeah.
But this also takes another way too, is that if an English voice actor has potential to be on a Japanese main audio of anime. So I say maybe most of the cast, the voice acting cast, is mostly Japanese. You have the opportunity. Prime example, Alex Lee. Think about all the things he could be on. But then also it does take away the fact that you do have bilingual or multilingual voice actors out there.
Right.
Because, I mean, I can't remember his name, but I know he does VTuber. He also does English and also does Spanish. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Because if you're able to do Spanish, you can make the authenticity a little bit better. So maybe your price goes a little bit higher. That's where I just feel like it opens doors that people are just willing to lock and shut. That I feel like there's a conversation at least needed. I believe that laws need to be set, regulations need to be set, but it opens up doors in my eyes. I'm not against this, but a lot of other stuff I am against, but this right here, I'm just, I don't know. I really don't know.
I can understand. I think where it would be a lot worse is if it was like, hey, we're going to do this, and then these are the only versions that can be used. Like, that would be worse. Like, there's still opportunity here for real voice actors. Here's what I think is going to be interesting, and this is what kind of is scary to me, is like, we're talking about all this AI stuff in regards to like art and animation and anime and stuff. What's really going to dictate whether or not this stuff becomes the norm and takes over the human element, which I don't want to see that happen. But what's really going to dictate if that happens comes down to people like you and me. Is it going to be more expensive for the general person to watch anime that's done by real voice actors and created by real people, or is it going to be cheaper to watch anime that's done by AI? That's what it's going to really come down to, because the vast majority of people, they don't give a shit. Most people don't care. Most people are just consumers, and they want to sit down and consume what they want to consume, and they don't care where it came from, but they care about what's more expensive. Right? That's what it's really going to come down to, I think. And that is the scariest part to me.
No, I feel like if I was going to set it up, I would have a regulation stating that the anime gets voice act originally by the voice actors you deem who you want, and then you can implement the AI. So they're automatically getting, like, there is a voice acting. You don't just start off with AI. No, you actually voice acted, have actual voice actors who are in the booth doing everything. Then you take the AI, and then you can translate other people's, languages.
Yeah. Makes sense. I can see that.
Still not going to work for people. People are going to be crying about it. And I can understand why. There's nothing wrong with you being upset with that either. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's interesting to see all these different things happening. And again, it's just going to come down to how these things are implemented, and really like what consumers are willing to tolerate or not. If consumers are not, like, if everything's being equal and consumers are like, hey, I don't want all of this stuff that's made by AI, and they're willing to protest it by not paying for it, then that'll make a big difference, right? That'll make a big difference. But if the vast majority of people are like, this is cheaper, and my Crunchyroll subscription is going to be $30 a month if they continue to have to like hire real voice actors, or it could be $10 a month if they just use AI for everything, and AI has developed so much that it still sounds great. What do you think most people are going to choose?
That's a good point. That is a good point. No, I mean, like, the thing is, me and you both can see that happening. As what's stopping them?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Wild times, y'all. Wild times. So Yeah, not to leave you on a weird like note for the Christmas episode, but like I think it's really interesting and important to look at these things and kind of look at them from both sides, which is why I really like having this podcast with Kyle and not just somebody that like completely agrees with me on everything, is so that you guys listening and watching can see.
Oh, we have a holly jolly time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, it's not like we're ever mad at each other.
No,
well, it's such a good example for like you don't necessarily need to agree on everything with everybody that's in your life. Like it's okay to like disagree on things, and you can still be friends and you can still have relationships with each other. But I hope that you guys hear all of this and just like want to do your own research and develop your own opinions and not just look at one piece of the pie and then make all of your decisions based on that one piece of pie. Not look at like Crunchyroll's never changed their prices before. They're not going to change their prices again. Well, just because something's never happened doesn't mean that something can't change in the future. But if you look at all these other things that are pointing in this one direction, you can come up with an educated decision on your own. And I think that's important. And I hope that this and these conversations help you guys do that and help you guys make your own decisions. And so you can enjoy anime, like Kyle said, the way you want to enjoy it. You want to enjoy a censored version of an anime? That's awesome. I'm happy for you. You just need to have that option. You want to enjoy anime in English? Great. As long as you have the option to do that, I'm happy for you. You want to enjoy English anime that's done by a real voice actor or that's done by AI? I'm down for that as long as you have the option. We should always have the option to do things the way that we want, and no company, no government, no religion, no church should be able to tell us how we can do things that we want to do as long as we're not hurting anybody. That is a little bit of a heavy thing to say, but it's relevant with anime and it's relevant with every aspect of our life. And it trickles into all of it. So there you go. Merry Christmas, everybody. Any final words, Carl?
No, I mean, you hit it right there on the point. It's a deep topic to go into the new year with that. But I think once the next episode will come out, we'll be talking about new animes of the year. So do be looking out for that.
As we're recording this episode, Jump Festa is happening in Japan.
Yes.
And if you don't know what Jump Festa is, it's a whole weekend celebration where essentially they announce
the week of anime.
Yeah, they announce all the stuff that's happening in the next year for anime and confirm all the
lot of news has been coming out, and we're gonna make that. We're gonna talk about it today, but we're just gonna make that into next week's episode. Add that in with the new season of anime.
Yeah. So this will be the Christmas episode, and the next one will be like the New Year episode, and that's perfect for like the New Year episode, talking about all the new anime that's coming out, and what you guys can look forward to, and what we're gonna want to look forward to and watch, and all that good stuff, and then we can worry about where it's going to end up and if Crunchyroll is going to take over and if we're all going to become mindless AI drones or not. We can worry about that later. That's what bourbon's for.
We only got time. That's all we have.
All right, everybody. If you're enjoying the podcast and you're enjoying the content, make sure that you're subscribing or you're following or whatever it is on whatever platform that you're listening.
Rate us, please.
Yeah, it means a lot. We've hit some good milestones. We're almost to monetization on YouTube. That'll be soon. We've hit over 10,000 downloads on Spotify. That's huge. So big milestones coming, and we're working on some things to maybe even ramp and do more in the new year. But let us know your thoughts on everything. You can comment, whatever it is. Let us know your thoughts on how you're enjoying everything. And just you simply listening and watching is the best way that you can support us. But until next time, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays. Just have fun with your family, whatever it is. We love you. We'll see you next time. Peace out.